Wellness. This is the Wellness Week number 101. We're live right here at 2419 Baldwick Road. I'm your host this week, Jamie Dorley. I'm so excited. We'll be here till 5 p.m. We have so many great things so you can have a wellness experience. And no better experience than you're going to have today. We got the spiritual gangster on. I love the new gear you got. I can't wait to get one for myself. So I'm very excited to have Kristine Glein on. She's our chief growth officer. And people say, well, what does that mean? I says, she will help you grow. They says, that's great. I says, watch what you wish for because it takes a lot of work and some pain to grow. And she's so incredible. She's been a life coach for me. So if you've seen good changes, Phil, hopefully the crowd's saying yes, good changes. I have to really thank and give all the credit to Kristine. She's been incredible, not only for me, but my wife and my family. And then she came on to help our team, not only at Nutritional Frontiers, but also the World of Wellness. And now she's full time with us. I can't believe that. We're so blessed to have her. Her background is incredible. She graduated from the prestigious, right? The incredible school right here in PA, right? So, she went to undergraduate here in PA, and then she went to get her master's at the University of Phoenix. And she's been helping people really, not only as a turnaround specialist for higher education and businesses, but also individual. She's created this whole program called Soul Intelligence. And when I tell people about that, they, well, what does that mean? So let's give a nice warm welcome to Kristine Glein, Chief Growth Officer and close friend of mine and colleague. So thank you for making time in your very busy schedule, Kristine. We're so excited to have you on. So let's jump right into it. What is soul intelligence? Because I know about IQ. What's SQ?
I'm so glad that you asked me that question. First of all, I literally was just saying this morning how happy I am that I have the opportunity to work with you and the teams at Nutritional Frontiers and World of Wellness, and that it's probably one of the best decisions I ever made to come in house. So thank you for that opportunity. It really, really is a lot of fun.
Oh, you're so sweet and kind. It was the best decision you ever made. It only took her 2 years, Phil, to come on board. But, hey, some of those decisions you got to really mull over quite a bit. But no, as soon as we connected, it felt like we've known each other since birth. I think we did. We were born in the same hospital. As you may have guessed, she's a little bit older than me, of course, but looks a
I
lot younger.
It's
Looks a
depressing.
lot younger. And then we connected at Bloomsburg University. And then here
Mhm.
we are all these years later. So, on a serious note, tell us a little more about the SQ because it's really fascinating to me.
Absolutely. So, as you mentioned, we talk about IQ. Everybody knows what that is, right? You have to have smarts, wits, ideas. Everything starts in the mind, in the brain, right? That initial spark, that idea. And then the next thing we learned about, especially in business, was EQ and the importance of emotional intelligence, right? Thinking about how you say what you say, and making sure that we're sensitive to how people react to things. And that became very, very popular. And what I talk about, which is really important, right? But what I talk about is soul intelligence. And to me, soul intelligence is that inner divine knowing, right? That is when you are in alignment with your mission, your vision, your values, and your purpose. And when you are in full alignment with those things and you allow the best version of yourself to operate during the day, then that's when you have, think about as a business owner, that's when you have everybody operating in alignment with themselves, with you, attached to something that's bigger than themselves, like the mission at World of Wellness and Nutritional Frontiers, which is making the world healthy. That's when people run through the fire for you because they are lit up from the inside out. So the trick is, how do you get everybody there, right? Because we're
Yes. We're used to hearing IQ. I think the EQ, I'd like to have a couple sessions on that. And then we get to the SQ. Is this where, to simplify, I'm a simple guy, you know that. To simplify, is this where you feel like you're in your groove and things are really flowing throughout your day versus other days where things aren't clicking?
Absolutely, right? It's when like the best version of you. If you close your eyes and you think about what does the best version of me look like? What does he or she act like? How do they show up? How do they carry themselves? What kind of swagger do they have? Like, when you think about what is the best version of you, and is that person waking up with you in the morning, leading your day? Do you get tapped in? Do you take some time to connect to a higher power, something bigger than yourself? Those are some of the things, some of the checkpoints you can do to see, am I tapping into my inner knowing, my inner wisdom? And it's more than just intuition. Intuition's like that niggling, and an inner knowing is more of a solid, yeah, I'm in alignment. I know I'm meant to do this. I know I'm meant to be here. This is what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah, the great thing when I started working with you, because a lot, it's like working out. The first time someone goes to work with a trainer, it can be intimidating, overwhelming. They're not sure where to start. They feel like everyone else has been doing this. So I loved how you were able to meet me where I was, which was a very low level. So you can talk a little bit about that, because I think sometimes you're at such a high level with your journey that somebody starting out or maybe did some good work and then had some setbacks. Sometimes they feel like, where do I start? How do I can I ever get there? Right. I had someone call me the other night and he's not in his groove, right? So we're
Mm.
talking about some of the basic things. I said, are you working out? Are you reading your books? Are you no, no, and no, right? So if somebody's fallen off the wagon or they're brand new to this, what's a great way for you to get them started?
Sure. And a really easy step for anybody to do is to start recognizing like the different levels of consciousness. So, or in other words, awareness. So, the first level where we typically all start is in the drama, right? Everybody knows drama. There's a victim, there's a villain, there's a hero in the story. We get caught up in the story, no matter what it is, right? We love stories as human beings. And so, the first level of consciousness is to be in one of those roles. The second level is to take a step back from the roles and look at it as, what is my opportunity for growth? Right? What can I learn from this situation? How can I use this story to help me continue to grow and expand and learn? Because I kind of look at life as like life university, right? If you can actually take a step back and look at everything that happens to you as a way for you to grow, and most of the time, growth is painful, right?
Mm.
Right? We all remember growing pains as a kid,
Oh my God. I didn't know it was gonna be that painful. Yes.
but truly, right? We don't learn from the round corners. We learn from those sharp edges. So that's the first step. The next step of consciousness and expansion and awareness of what's going on around you and how you operate as a spiritual being in a physical world, is recognizing, not only the opportunity for growth, but the next one is feeling like life is happening through you. So when I opened up and I said, what does the best version of you look like?
See?
Who's the best version of you that would show up, and how would they handle that dramatic situation, knowing it's a learning opportunity? Right? So, what's the best version of me? And am I tapped into the best version of me? And are they operating every day? And then the last level of consciousness is really life is happening as me. And that's when you get to that space of like oneness, right? Where you feel one with everything. As a matter of fact, I did have that experience recently. I was fortunate enough to take a few days off and get to go skiing with my family in Breckenridge, Colorado. It was an amazing experience. And when I'm up on the mountains and I see just the brilliant white of the snow and the green of the trees and the blue of the sky and just the vastness of the mountains, I feel very connected to nature and very much at one. So that's that oneness moment. And it's not possible for us as human beings to operate there all the time, but we
Yeah,
get
I was
one.
gonna say we can't stay there, right?
No, typically you get out in traffic and boom, you're right back down to the bottom in the first
And do
level.
you find typically most people will find that after a huge accomplishment or being in nature? Is that because for me, it's the beach or the mountains?
Absolutely. Yeah, because you really feel a part of the system. When we're able to slow down enough and to actually feel the rhythm of the universe, whether you're feeling it in the peaceful swish of the wind, on a mountain, or whether you're feeling it, through the waves, there really is a primordial sound of the universe. It's called Om. I don't know if you can tell, but I have Om earrings on. But that really just means like being a part of one, the one, all that is, right? The divine, something bigger than myself.
And I
Um,
think now more than ever, this is a key topic. So I really appreciate you sharing all this incredible wisdom with everyone, because A lot of people I deal with, family, friends, whoever it may be, coworkers. Yeah, I think a lot of people are looking for this. Hey, everything's perfect, right?
Mm,
And it says you do. That's when you flatline. It's over, right?
yep.
So the ebbs and flows, and most people, they don't realize it's going to come, right? My one of my friends just said, "Look," he goes, "adversity is either there right now." It's knocking at the door or it just left. So it's coming back again. I said, yeah. So I think this is fantastic because people, I think, have gotten to this point where they want to numb themselves. They want to make sure everything's perfect. They don't want to deal with anything, but that's not real life. So this is real life application that people can utilize right away. So simply just being outside. And a lot of people may not realize they're drawn out there for that, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's different ways that you can support yourself to try and connect. The first thing is to block out as many distractions as possible. We are living in a world full of distractions, right, Jay? Name a few. You got a few?
Well, I think, some simple things is the news, right?
Mm.
TV. I watch a show like Seinfeld still, or I watch a game. I don't watch TV. I'm not a big fan of the news, of course. I'm looking for some people that are, because I don't think it's news anymore, right? It's really designed to polarize us. And I think everything's really right now created to divide and conquer. Because if we're divided, then we can't really look at what's going on. So I think those are simple things for me, right? And then giving yourself the time to actually, like you says, unplug and not be connected to everywhere, right? Technology was really, I took a class on this actually, Phil. Technology, they told me, was created so we can work from anywhere, but
Mhm.
not everywhere. So
Uh,
I'm really bummed out when I'm in the gym this morning and people are sitting on the leg press on their phones, right? It's
right.
like, I get if you're changing a song or something, but I think that's the point people are at. They're in a constant stimulated mode and they're not taking time to really regress. So some of the things I'm doing to eliminate is one is no news, hardly any TV, right? No, none of that media type. And I utilize the technology more for, hey, I can now listen to an audiobook, right? Those are some simple things I've been doing.
Absolutely. So I think it's really getting quiet enough to go within, right? A lot of people tell me, especially when I start working with them, they really struggle with meditation, right? To me, meditation and prayer are very similar, right? Prayer is usually asking for what you want to receive, and meditation is really listening for the answers, right? So they really go hand in hand. And the only way we can actually receive is if we get our nervous system to calm down, right? We have
Mm.
be in that state of, like a theta state. You've got alpha, beta, theta, delta. We at least need to be in the theta state in order to start receiving and hearing the messages, as well as feeling it and embodying it. So
Yeah,
when
it's
we talk,
very, I'm
oh,
sorry,
sorry,
good.
no, it's okay. So when we talk about soul intelligence, right? I talked about everything starts in the brain. That is the electric spark of the electromagnetic field that we all operate in. But what magnetizes and what brings things to you are feelings, are emotions, right? And I posted a little photo on my social accounts today. I had this little heart that reminded me. It was just such a great reminder. I just love how the universe works, and you start paying attention to synchronicities. But this cute little squeaky heart came out of this dragon. So it's a dragon heart, even, and it's a toy of my dog Stella, who I adore so much. Well, when I got to Breckenridge, we had to bring Stella to a dog sitter, and she was having a great time. But when I opened my suitcase, this little dragon heart was inside.
Oh
And
my gosh.
isn't that amazing? Like, I was like, wow, I brought her with me. How cool is that? So it's just a really good reminder to me, even that the heart, okay, is this big magnifier. And so when we talk about doing some of the work that I do with our teams and myself, and you start putting together what we call a belief plan, or what I call a sacred soul script, right? It's about the feeling, not just setting a goal, but then spending time thinking about, who do I need to be and what do I need to believe in order to achieve the goal. And then the most important step is feeling that goal as if it's already happened. And who are you with? And what are you doing? And how are you celebrating? And what are all the things that you've experienced? Because our subconscious mind is what really runs the show. It runs our show 95% of the time. So we have 5% of our conscious mind doing all that thinking and strategizing, and we put a lot of importance in the IQ. And really, the magnifier, what brings things in, is our emotional body, our emotional quotient, our heart. As a matter of fact, the field around your heart is 6 feet wide. Okay, it's only 2 feet wide, the magnifying field around your brain. 6 feet. Think about that. So when we talked about like eliminating distractions and getting quiet, the other key piece is to focus on those emotions. And so one of the reasons why I developed the soul intelligence method, which is this book right here, book of charts and a pendulum that I use, it allows me to help shift unhealthy emotions, negative emotions, self-limiting beliefs, old patterns that aren't serving you anymore, trauma, up and out of your subconscious mind and even your physical and emotional body. We bring it to the conscious mind so that it can be released. And so this methodology functions on the principle of bioenergetics. What the heck is bioenergetics? Well, bioenergetics is the correlation between your emotional well-being and your physical well-being. Because we all know, right? If you're not physically feeling well, you're typically depressed or down or
Yeah.
not emotionally feeling well, right? And
Mhm.
if you're feeling, emotionally down, typically you get something that manifests in the physical. Well, that's how our body lets us know something's out of alignment. Okay. And emotions are frequency. So when I talked about alpha, beta, theta, delta waves, you can actually measure where you are. So when I talk about the theta state, that's usually when we're in a relaxed, meditative place. The feelings I can actually get everybody into theta really quick. You want to do it, James?
Sure, why not?
Okay, let's do it live. Okay,
All
so I
right.
just
Should I
want
sit
everybody to,
down?
you can do whatever you want. You can
I'm
close
gonna
your eyes
sit.
with me. You want to sit, you want to really get down. You're going to be so impressed. We'll be able to do this really quickly.
And you're an incredible teacher because everything you're saying is what I'm thinking right now. The 5 and 95%, the overstressed, the belief plan. So this is great. I'm ready for you.
All right. So what I want everybody to do is I just want you to close your eyes for just a moment. Just take a few deep cleansing breaths. If it feels good to sigh, go for it. Just move your shoulders away from your ears. Let your jaw become slack. Just feel that tension melting away. And now I want you to focus on the center of your chest and your heart. And I want you to just think right now about someone, something, or someplace that you absolutely love. Hmm. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes and come back. That is how quickly you can get into a theta state, when you get into your heart, when you start feeling that emotion of love and appreciation. So, James, you want to share where you went?
Well, my wife's right behind me, so of course I was thinking of her, and she talked right during it. So of course, and then I said, "All right," and you said place, and I says,
Yeah.
"I'm taking her with me to the beach." So for
Beautiful.
me, it's right to Sandkey, right to the beach next month. Sitting there, I can feel it already.
That's amazing. Yeah, well, since I was just talking about Stella, my dog, who I adore, I obviously was just like hugging her and playing with her, but that's how quickly we can shift our state of being, our state of consciousness, and move into a higher state. It doesn't take as much effort as we think about, like, oh, I got to get quiet. I got to find quiet time. I got to get away from people. You can literally do it within minutes.
I think even the deep breathing we started with, I already started it, and you mentioned it, and sometimes people can hear my sighs, right? I'm
Hmm.
taking that deep breath and just letting it all out. So can we back up a little bit, because something, I mean, there's so many things that you said that were fascinating. One of our speakers at our event next month, which you'll be a guest speaker at too. So I
So
can't wait to see you and Dr. Phil speaking together. Dr. Bob Rakowski, he's a world renowned speaker, right? Functional medicine doc out of Texas. And he says people right now are so overstimulated,
mhm,
before he can even treat, he needs to do the stress reset, right? To cool
absolutely.
them down. So this is something they can utilize your program with some of the nutrients, right? Because he says before he can even work on them, Kristine, he needs to cool them down. So like you just did right there. And he says some people, it may take 7 to 10 days.
Oh yeah, a lot most of us operate in, fight, flight, or freeze more so than anything these days, right? It's always an emergency. There's always something going on. As a matter of fact, it used to happen, I think that stimuli would happen in somebody's day. About I think about 30 years ago, it was about 6 times a day. It's up to 18 times a day that someone has a something that triggers them. And it could be something
That's
as
an
small
that's an average, right? Yeah.
average,
Yeah.
average. You're above average.
Finally, I'm above average in something. I'm overstimulated. Okay, good.
Yeah, I mean, truly. And so you talked about something earlier that is very true. The news typically evokes fear, right? A lot of what we hear is like fear and divisiveness, and it's the stories are put in a way so that you get worked up, right? And so it does not do great for our nervous system to be worked up all the time, always in that state. The other thing that happens when you're always in that state is you develop cortisol, right?
Oh,
There we go. Where does cortisol go, Jay?
yes, right to the belly. So I've been working on that quite a bit. No, I was just thinking athletes, right?
Right?
Overtrained, overstimulated, taking pre-workouts, or a business person always on the go, or even the mom at home that's constantly being bombarded with things, right? So
Absolutely.
I love
That
the fact that you
plane hopping, crazy, burnt out adrenal junkie myself for many, many years. I really was. Yeah,
yeah, and I think what happens is that, as I've worked with you over time, right? Progress, you said, not perfection.
that's the key.
And I did notice twice this week where I would say people give you the bait, right? Take the
Mhm.
bait. Yeah. I was glad you taught me how to acknowledge that, and not, you don't have to go for the bait. Can you talk about that a little bit? Because I think that's what happens. It could be the news, it could be a relationship, it could be a family member, it could be a friend, where they're going to give you that bait, and if you go there, now you're in that vortex, and it's often hard to get back out. And when you do, then you're in that same mental state. Can you talk about that a little bit? Because that's
Yeah.
been very helpful for me, and I did realize that this week. I was like, oh, that's from Kristine. So I think a lot of people could get help today just from hearing you talk about that.
Well, sure. So we talked about the four states of consciousness, right? So something happens and it triggers you. That typically puts you in that victim, villain, hero
Mhm.
state, right? Like the drama state. So that as soon as you feel that trigger, you go, oh, that's interesting. That's fascinating. Take a breath so that you can respond as opposed to react. So taking the bait means I'm going to react and psh, I'm right in there and I'm clashing. I'm going for it. The next level is where you actually get in sort of this observing phase and you're like, oh, that's interesting. That's fascinating. That's bringing up something I thought I had worked through before. I obviously have more work to do there. Or, because everything that is reflected out here starts in here. And that's a really hard thing for people to grasp, but it's true. How you feel internally is what you manifest externally. So if you don't love who you are and you expect people to treat you poorly, guess what? That's what you're going to see reflected. And the greatest teaching or commandment that has really been impressed upon me is love one another as you love yourself. And most people truly struggle to love themselves, right? We always see our own flaws. And so typically the people around us reflect those things that we still need to work on. So if you can get in the state and go, oh, that's fascinating that my kid is exactly like me. Or, oh, that's fascinating that what they're doing is something that drives me crazy. It's because I see something in myself that's not there. And
Mm.
so it's really working on you and feeling whole within yourself, right? And you can't do
Yeah.
that if you physically don't feel well, or you're emotionally depressed or down, or you've got constant negative thoughts racing around your head, which is one of the reasons why my method goes hand in hand with working with a lot of our functional medicine practitioners, because they're trying to help people on the physical level, and then I'm able to help on the mental and emotional, and sometimes, if they're open, spiritual level.
Yeah, you talked about that, about how you look at yourself, right? And something you taught me, maybe you can expand on a little bit, is the I am statements, right?
Mm,
Because I used to, and I don't do it anymore, but I'll share. I used to always make fat jokes about myself,
yep.
right? And then Tracy would say, "It's not funny." Like,
No.
that thought, and then now you're expressing it, even though it's a joke, it's not really a joke. That is triggering actions that will lead you down the wrong path. So you could talk a little more about that, because that's been very helpful. I did I am statements this morning.
You did?
Clean, lean, green. That was my first three,
Oh,
you
I
know.
like it.
Yeah. And I was like, "Oh, that was kind of cool." And then you feel better, right?
Mhm.
And then
Yeah.
right to the gym, even though I didn't want to go today. I was a little sore, a little tired, but I went anyway after I did that. So I love that you helped me with that, and it's something so simple, but it can have incredible results.
Yeah, even before you get out of bed, okay? Depending on what your own practice is, I know, Jamie, you talk about the first quarter, so maybe you can share that with people, because I just love that metaphor. But what are you doing for you? Most of us are wired to help other people. We naturally want to help everybody else. And the last person usually on the list is ourselves. So if you can start your day, even just laying in bed for a few minutes and telling yourself, what do you want to feel today? What do you want to experience today? Right? I want to feel happy, or I want the day to flow. And it has to be an emotional statement. Inevitably, by the end of the day, when you check back in, you're going to see that you wound up experiencing that because you set that as your intention. Then the next thing is, what do you need to believe about yourself in order to experience whatever you want to experience? And so that's where the I am statements come in. I am an incredible healer. I am an amazing transformational specialist. I am fully supported in everything I do. How does that one land? Right? So it's giving yourself those positive reinforcements, because remember, you've got your conscious mind, that's 5% of the brain trying to change the 95%. So
And
the way,
does the subconscious mind know if it's true or not?
nope.
Mm.
The subconscious mind only responds to emotions. So it has to be said with feeling. That's why The Secret didn't work, because it was just about affirmations. You would say it, that's a spark, but in order to collapse the particle wave and have it be magnified and come into you, it's got to have that feeling. So truly feeling is the secret, which is kind of counterintuitive to everything we learned growing up, at least I did, in business. There's no crying in baseball, right? Like, we're not allowed to be emotional. Oh my goodness. We are emotional beings, and we have to be able to express ourselves. Now, certainly in a healthy way, and not necessarily in a negative way, but we do need to move emotions, because if we don't, that's when they become stuck, and pulled or suppressed, and they start causing a dissonance in your frequency, which causes something to go wrong in the physical, which then gets you to go to a doctor because something's not right.
Yeah, I think people nowadays become overwhelmed by the year, the month, the week. Oh, next year this is going to happen, or I got planned for my kid's school or wedding or traveling, whatever it may be, right? So I was able to create this little system that works for me that I'll share with everyone. It's the 4 quarters of the day, right?
Love
And
it.
I loved how you said to drain your strain, because if this cup, which is water, is empty now, I can put drops in it and it's fine, right? But once it's full, I know I'm out of Pellegrino. Hello, hello.
Where's Zach
Oh.
Dorley?
Oh, Oh, she got me a case. Thank you. Of course.
Say, warning, Kristine's coming next week. They better have
I'll
Pellegrino in
get
the
the truck. Yeah, the truck's coming in. Don't worry. But no, seriously, if your cup is full
house. Hmm.
and you have one little drop, then you explode because you overflow. And it's like, how did that one little thing set me off? But
Yep.
when you start draining your strain and it gets lower and lower, then you can handle more that comes on, right? And that could be daily or weekly or monthly. But so what I do is I just divide the day into 4 quarters, just like football. And hopefully we don't go to overtime, but sometimes we do. So the first quarter is my time. That's when I get up. I do prayers, I do meditation, I do reading on the phone, and I text a group of people that we all help each other. And then I get into some reading of the books. And then if I'm a little bummed out, I'll do some journaling right into one book that I got for Christmas. And if I'm really having a hard day, like I did a few days ago, I do the gratitude list.
Mm.
And by the time I get done with that, it's a quick perspective on the real world. My dad taught me when I was young. I want a brand new pair of sneakers. I was sharing this with the team, and we didn't have a lot of money, so he's like, "You don't need those." I'm like, "I really do." He's like, "Well, you ever hear what happened to the kid that complained about no sneakers?" I says, "No." He says he met someone with no feet, right? So it's like, "Oh, I get it." It ran right out of the room. But no, just it starts. People are like, "What are you grateful for?" I says, well, how about oxygen? How about God, right? How about my family? How about the dogs? How about your home? Not the house physically, but the home, right? Some days it's, hey, my phone works, my car started, right? It could be such little things that we often take for granted. So I do that. I take my supplements and do my blood sugar and coffee and some water, and then I go to the gym. Now, what I found more and more is that my first half hour, you call it a walking meditation.
Hmm.
Um, I do that outside usually, right? Outside the gym. Some places have a park, some don't. But I find being outside, even when it's cold, I got a couple hoodies on. I'm good. I do the workout, more water, get a shake, get dressed, and now I'm ready. That's quarter one. Then quarter two is going to be from that time until about lunch, and that could be work or it could be home or both. And then quarter three is after lunch till dinner time, and then quarter four is evening. So when I do that, it's much easier for me to handle those sections. Plus, I make sure, which you were so helpful in, is making sure I schedule time to do these things I like. And what I found is I'm much more productive when I'm around other people, especially for work or for home. And I was listening to Ed Milet. He's one of my favorites now, The Power of One More. And he does is he breaks his day down into 3 periods, 6 hours, and then he goes to sleep. But same type of concept. And he says he gets 3 days out of one. So these are just some simple things you can do starting today that would really help you become, as you would say, a better version of yourself.
Yeah, one of the things that's super important that you just mentioned, it's interesting because it's come up with a number of clients lately. Been working with a number of functional medicine doctors, and if you think you don't put time into yourself, those folks are so focused on helping everybody else, they are typically last on the list, which is why we're having this wonderful mind body restoration event in Clearwater, Florida, coming up at the end of the month for all our functional medicine practitioners and health coaches. And really looking forward to that because we don't take enough time to really relax. Number one, I remember growing up, work hard, play hard, and it was an activity, as opposed to allowing myself to relax. I could have never imagined spending, hours on the couch just watching Netflix or reading or doing just something brainless like that. It was always, I had to get stuff done. I had to do, I had to do. But we have to remember we're human beings, not human doings. And the other thing that came up recently with working with a number of functional medicine doctors was that the importance of play and having fun. And we don't usually do that. We try and fit that in around all of our work instead of doing what I just mentioned to Jamie, or Jamie just mentioned, which was scheduling the play and working our day around the play. And the reason is when you're playing, you can be so much more creative, right? And depending on what your play is, for me, it's tennis. So for me, being out on the tennis court means I am mentally, emotionally, physically, and even spiritually focused on that game. I'm not looking at my phone. I'm not thinking about anything else except hitting the ball back and trying to put the ball away. And it's almost to me Jamie's walking meditation because it stimulates me on all those levels. And I really enjoy it and I really move emotions because, like I said, if we don't move our emotions, they become stuck and then they cause us physical pain, if not emotional and mental pain. And a lot of people that I've worked with lately have been struggling with not playing, not feeling joy, not remembering why we're here. And it's because we get stuck in the drudgery of day-to-day life and all of the things we have to do. So it's really important to schedule something you have something to look forward to. Even if you start with just one something a month. A coach and really good friend of mine that I'm going to see later today mentioned schedule one thing you have never done a month, like something new that you never did. It could be something small, like maybe it's, as an adult doing an adult coloring book, or maybe it's planting an herb garden, something simple. Or maybe it's, I want to be in the front row of my favorite band, something bigger. But give yourself something, right, that lights you up from the inside out, that taps into that soul intelligence, that makes your heart feel that much bigger. It could be playing with your dog,
I was
right?
just thinking of that. It used to be like I gotta let the dog out. Now I'm like, I actually take a few minutes, especially on the weekend, and I'm out there because they like it too, right? And it is enjoyable. And I'm like, wow, just relax for 10, 15 minutes out of it. You're not going to be out here all day. And where am I rushing to anyway? The other thing that you taught me, I think, would be very helpful, especially for a lot of the healthcare professionals, but for everybody. I hear this whole thing work life balance, right?
Mm,
So I looked at this and I spent a lot of time looking at this. And I says, really what that means is, hey, I'm going to go work from 9 to 5, and then there's no more work, and then I'm going to go do my other things. I said, well, that doesn't really work in this modern world, right? It
right,
doesn't work because you have kids' activities during the day, or you got traveling, right? Or you got to get your hair cut done, or, whatever it may be. So I look at it, and I think this should help everyone out there, but work life integration, right? And there are times that I'm in the office, sometimes I'm on the road, sometimes I'm walking at the beach, and sometimes I'm working. It doesn't matter what the schedule is, but you got to fit those things in because a lot of times people say, what do they tell you, Christine? I don't have time to do that. Right.
mm,
And what you taught me is make the time for it. And then, hey, if you got to do a letter for work or an email, you can do it later on at night. It doesn't, unless it's an emergency, which usually it's not. So that's really helped me a lot to let the day flow. Where I think a lot of people are trying to jam everything in, and what would be wrong with one of your doctors taking a walk at 3 o'clock?
right.
Nothing, right?
So, like you said, it's I think we had this vision like, how can I do it all? I know as like a working mother, when my kids were younger, I went through this. How do I fit it all in? How do I clean the house? How do I get my master's degree? How do I work a full-time job? How do I take care of them? How do I play with them? How do you juggle it all? And one of the things that I recognized was if we don't balance our lives in some degree, like you're saying, you integrate them, but if you don't have balance, like alone time, girl time, guy time, couple time, family time, fun time, you get resentful and out of balance, and you're spending too much time in one area and not enough. And so
And
it's
yeah, do you see burnout occurring at the end of this?
my goodness, absolutely. Absolutely. As a matter of fact, I have some stats on the burnout for healthcare professionals in particular. And it's about 57%. It's really high. And we need those people, right? And so I'm committed to helping make them healthy, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, if possible, and really hoping to pour into them so that, like you said, so they feel full and then they can help other people. I mean, it truly is, the parallel of put the oxygen mask on first before you help the kid. It's really true. If you don't have a morning routine or your first quarter of the day, as Jamie talked about, make that one small step, right? Whether you like to pray or meditate or journal or say I am statements or um, feel into all the things you're grateful for, it will literally change your state of being, and it can really change your day.
Yeah, and then I incorporate some other things I love. I love to read. Now I got the podcasts on Spotify, and then when the workouts, I start to do some weights or do a little more intense, and I put some music on, so I'm able to do all those things I love and make time for them, right? And I want to thank you for creating this incredible weekend. So, can you share a little bit about how our healthcare professionals that are really struggling out there are able to really reinvest in themselves? I went through your whole belief plan. I can see us on Sunday afternoon sitting there and saying, wow, this is fantastic, right?
What
Look
do
at
we
we're helping the people. It's gonna be about 100 of us there, right? Sold out event, and they're gonna help millions, right? So
so
let's hear a little bit about it, because I want to thank you again. Your idea was fantastic. You really helped me. Not try and jam all the education in one evening or one weekend, but really incorporate practice what we preach at the beach, right? Isn't that what we say?
it. That's exactly it. Yeah, we wanted to create space and we wanted to make sure that we did have that mind stimulation because everybody wants to learn. But we also want to make sure that we had opportunity for people to share and exchange ideas, and have an opportunity to relax with one another and play with one another. Hence why we're at the beach. So we start out on Friday. We'll have an afternoon reception where everybody can do a meet and greet and get their gifts from us. We're going to have a book signing with some of our incredible speakers and authors, so you get to know them one on one. Like Dr. Judy Mikovits is going to be there, amongst Dr. Bob Rakowski, Dr. Tracy Strupp, so many people, Dr. Len Bransowitz. There's so many, I can't even remember them all, Jay. But it's going to be an awesome opportunity to interact with them, to meet other healthcare professionals in exchange. And then that night, we have a wonderful beach party. We'll be outside under the stars in the tent, right in the white sandy beach, listening to a band that I'm really excited to hear. It's actually one of our healthcare professionals' husbands has a band, and it's amazing. I've heard them out, and they're so good. And then the next day, we're going to start our programming. So we'll get to hear great presentations from Jamie and all of the speakers that I just ran through. We'll be able to have a wonderful lunch outside, again, to really kind of decompress for about an hour and a half and just enjoy being out on the beach. And then some more programming in the afternoon. Then in the evening, we're going to go play together. I just talked about the importance of play. And we are going to go on a pirate ship cruise to see the sunset and celebrate the legendary Joe Massino and Dr. Judy Mikovitz's birthday, because that happens to be their birthday on April 1st. Then we have yoga in the morning. One morning we have meditation Sunday morning, and then we'll have a farewell brunch. And then you, my friend, you and our families will be sitting on the beach going, what an incredible weekend. We helped so many people restore themselves and feel great, learn stuff, enjoy each other, and we're making the world healthy.
I'm so excited. I want to thank you so much for not only joining us today, but being an incredible part on our team and really helping me with my transformation that would continue, and creating this whole special event at the beach, because this is exactly what the healthcare professionals need. Almost 60% burnout. This is an opportunity for them to reinvest in themselves. And I've been to a lot of events over the years, and usually the one criticism people have is there's not enough time to talk to each other and share ideas, and let's share success stories and challenges on different types of patients and clients out there. And then a lot of our doctors and healthcare professionals, including me, have suffered from burnout.
Mhm.
It's not a fun place to be, right? Like you mentioned, cortisol and poor sleep patterns, and hormones get out of balance, and weight goes up, and blood sugars, and cardiovascular events. So now more than ever, our healthcare professionals need it. Our team needs it, and I need it. So thank you so much. I can't believe we're done already. This is like,
Well,
yeah.
put one more plug
We
in.
got
So,
a few minutes left. I want you to promote and,
so
plug and yeah.
if you want to learn more about the soul intelligence method and you need help wanting to shift and get rid of some of those, like I said, stuck emotions or limiting beliefs or patterns, my personal mission is to continue to make the world healthy physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, ultimately energetically. Right. And so if you're interested in learning more about how you might be able to learn the soul intelligence method, or you want to experience the soul intelligence method, feel free to send me a note. It's Kristine with a K at nutritionalfrontiers.com or Kristine with a K at KristineGleinCoaching.com. And I'll be happy to share with you how you can experience the method for yourself. And more importantly, I hope you will join me in the soul intelligence movement and learn how to do this method yourself so that you can affect so many more people. Thank you so much for being a part of the World of Wellness today. I am excited because I'm going to be there live next week and seeing the team. Miss them a lot.
So what types of people can search you out to do your program? I'm thinking of athletes, I'm thinking of professionals, I'm thinking of almost anybody that's wants to be a better version of themselves. What type of people do you specialize with?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, my time is limited because I devote most of my time to obviously the team at World of Wellness and Nutritional Frontiers.
Most of the time. Yes, we're getting
Most
closer.
got it. But I do teach this course one night a week, and typically it's healers, it's healthcare professionals, it's health coaches, people who are already, even personal trainers helping people get better physically, mentally, or emotionally. And so, if that's something that you're doing or you're interested in doing, this would be a great way to add to your practice profits. It's a new modality. And I'm happy to share with you how I can teach you or someone on your staff to have use the
Great.
method.
So you have group environments so people can join in and do the via Zoom. So that's excellent, right?
I teach one night a week. Obviously, I've got all my degrees hanging behind me in this frame I'm just looking at now. So I'm a big believer in online learning, and I'm excited to have the opportunity to teach that one night a week. And then I have a live coaching hour once a week where I answer questions and we do sessions on one another. As a matter of fact, the cohort that I'm working with right now, last night, they just did a session on me, Jay.
Uh-oh.
Ooh, look out.
Can't wait to get the notes from that one, Phil. It'll be
Anyway,
worth it. I'm gonna have to pay for it.
all
Well,
right.
thanks so much. You're doing incredible work. I feel fantastic just meeting with you for the past hour or so. You're helping so many people, not only at Nutritional Frontiers make the world healthy, but through the power of the soul intelligence, which I absolutely love, the SQ. So the one and only Kristine Glein, look her up at Kristine with a K at nutritionalfrontiers.com and join her team. And if you're a healthcare professional, you have to come down to Sand Key, right outside of Clearwater Beach, Florida. That is from March 31st through April 2nd this year. So there are a couple seats left. I think we got about 4 or 5 seats left, and that's it. So
Yeah.
don't wait any longer. It's going to be a sold out event, and it's going to be a great time for all of us to really break bread and bond together and really work on the whole mind, body, and spirit. So thanks so much, Kristine. You have a great day, and God bless.
Take care, everybody. Thank you, James.
Yeah, here we go.